Hi, in this video we're going to talk about the laws of motion. So the laws of motion are laws that describe the movement of objects, described first by Newton, and there are three laws of motion. The first of those laws is that every body or every object will persist in its state either of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless it is compelled to change that state by forces that are impressed on it. So for example, when you're riding your bike, uh, you should be continuing to move in the same direction at the same speed if there were no other forces on the bike. So actually, what happens is that there's friction. So the friction makes you stop. But if there was no friction, you would just move in a perpetual movement. For example, a bowler, it's kind of the same thing. There's low friction on the ball, so you see that the ball really moves in a state of constant motion and moves in a straight line. I mean, if no force is applied on it, you wouldn't see the ball, for example, suddenly turning right or left. So that's one of the basic principles of physics, is that if you give a motion to something, it will keep that motion, and it will just continue moving in a straight line at a constant velocity, except if, of course, some other forces are acting upon it, are impressed on it. The second law describes how the acceleration is actually related to the force that is on an object. So if you take any object, a body of mass m, and that's subject to a force which we're going to call F, it will have an acceleration. For example, if you have someone on a bike and you start to push him, you see that the force that you put on the bike will actually be transformed into an acceleration. And the stronger that force will be, the stronger the acceleration will be. Well, the exact relationship between the force and the acceleration uh, is that the force is equal to the mass times the acceleration. So basically what this means is that if you, for example, if you push a ball, which is, I don't know, like a bowling ball, with a strength, with a given strength, it will accelerate at a given speed. Now, if you take the same ball, but you put, imagine an extremely heavy ball, like for example, 10, 100 times the weight, well, you can see that if you apply the same force on it, the same strength on it, it won't accelerate as fast, right? So that's basically what the second law describes. It's the relationship between the force applied to an object and the acceleration. And that relationship is force is equal to the mass times the acceleration. The third law is a law of relationship between a force and a reaction. What it says is that the mutual forces of action and reaction between two bodies are equal, opposite, and collinear. This means that, for example, here you have an object which lies on a plane. Um, it's subject to gravity, which I called F, but it's also subject to ground reaction. For every action, there's a reaction which is equal in strength, but in the opposite direction. So the ground reaction here is minus F, and it's what prevents the object from actually falling through the ground. So this is also referred to as the action-reaction law. Well, thanks for watching.